Today we're testing the world's most extreme steak recipes. From a negative 100-degree frozen sear, to a hotter than lava 5-second cooking device, to techniques only found at the world's most exclusive restaurants.
That's good.
That's great. Today we're pulling out the big guns. And we are starting off with what is easily the craziest technique I've ever seen. Apparently, if you heat up salt enough, it reacts like oil, meaning if you get it hot enough, you can actually deep fry stuff inside of salt. So of course, we're gonna try that out with a steak. Needless to say, I'm skeptical, but either way, we'll need a whole bunch of salt. First step, we gotta get that salt super hot. Now to season, we of course will not be needing more salt, so we'll just hit it with a thin oil binder and some black pepper. There's a very strange chemically smell going on here. Ugh. That's a little concerning. Just gonna mix this up. Apparently it'll toast up and all get brown. Oh, we're starting to see some of that discoloration. But apparently it's only ready to go when it's all completely changed color. So we'll just let this keep going. Okay, the salt looks like it's completely changed color. Let's check the temp. Wow, okay, that's nearly 500 degrees. It's scary because I know if I touch that, it'll completely burn me, but it doesn't even look hot. I guess it's time to try deep frying our steak in salt. So I know you should definitely not do this with oil, but this is salt and I'm just super interested. Let's see. Is this dumb? Immediately evaporates. It's time for steak. Gonna hollow out a little area. It's weirdly smelling almost like molasses right now. Has a sweet element to it. Let's add in our steak. Hear a little bit of a sizzle, and we're just gonna cover it up. Whoa, it's crazy, it's sizzling. And we'll let it hopefully sear. It's been about 5 or 6 minutes. Let's give it a flip. Wow, I mean, I'm not gonna say that's the best crust in the world, but we actually got some color here. This is most certainly not the best looking steak I've ever seen, but if you look closely, there are some pockets of decent crust. There's obviously a lot of salt left over, so I'm just gonna try to remove as much of it as I can, and we'll slice into it. I mean, for a salt deep fried steak, I'd say that's cooked pretty well. Ooh, mama. That is salty.
Very well seasoned, Max.
I'm getting like crunchy bits of salt mixed with meat.
Dude, it kind of hurts. You know when you eat like way too many candies, your mouth starts burning?
I mean, it's like the back of my throat. The deep fry element just didn't seem to work. Very limited color on there. I don't know what we did wrong because we got that salt extremely hot. Sadly, that right there is a fail. And at least for steak, it doesn't work. We're gonna attempt to cook this next steak with dry ice. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's like vibrating on the plate. Holy sh! Oh my God. My poor heart. What was that? It like barked at me. This is what happens when we add water. Whoa, look at that. There's a perfect sphere of water that's just hanging. Did it freeze? Like, what's going on? Let me try again. Wow, the water doesn't stick to it. That's so weird. So it seems to not really react well with water. We're gonna see what happens when I force it under here. Oh, whoa. Wow, I feel like I'm in science class. This is exactly what you want to see. It's a concept called hydroevaporation. It's actually the same thing you'll see on an airplane when there's like that plume of smoke coming out of the back of it as it soars across the sky. Scientifically, it's the exact same concept.
You sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
I think so, maybe. And what we'll need for this one are 2 identical steaks. One that'll be our control, and the other that will cook with the help of dry ice. And to keep things consistent, we'll season both with just salt. We'll go down with the dry ice, and on with the steak. Oh my gosh, it's like searing. I mean, does that mean it's so cold it's hot? Dry ice is the solid form of carbon dioxide with a temperature of negative 109 degrees Fahrenheit. The extremely cold temperature is flash freezing the exterior of the steak, leaving the inside still at room temp. Believe it or not, this should actually help us cook this steak to perfection. Because that exterior is frozen, the only thing we're doing is developing crust. Now we'll move the steak back to the dry ice to flash freeze the other side, just like so, and back into the pan. Now that we've developed good crust on both sides, I'm actually gonna cool down the first crust side so we can hopefully do an insane double or maybe even triple crust. So now, as you can see, even though we already have ourselves a crust, we've completely cooled it down and it should be ready for another layer of sear. What this cold temperature is doing is really slowing down the cooking process, giving us the opportunity to really hammer away at that crust, achieving this insane color. If we didn't use the dry ice, at this point, the steak would be completely overcooked. With our double crust complete, we'll let this finish cooking in the oven. And we'll sear up the control. This one's cooking a lot faster than the dry ice steak, but even without any crazy process, the crust is looking beautiful. Just like that, both steaks reached 120 Fahrenheit, and they should be good to go. We have our control, which is looking great with a nice mahogany crust, but then check out the dry iced ribeye, and the crust on this one is just ridiculous. Similar mahogany color, but just way more dark and deep. Side by side, you can really see the difference. And let's slice her open. I'd say overall, pretty nice edge to edge doneness. Maybe an ever so slight gray band, but can't really ask for more than that. Now we'll check out the control. Looks like the control was cooked a bit more rare, but in terms of the gray band, at least to me, they look very similar.
Solid A+ steak.
Close to as good as you're gonna get with a pan-seared steak.
Very different.
Whoa.
It's different, but it's a kind of a subtle difference to me.
Dude, it's better.
That crust is crusting.
I really think that it enhanced the steak. That's a great steak to control. This one, that crust is like that thick of just straight up flavor. It's so good.
It's a little bit more oily. It's almost like it's been fried over and over again, which I guess it has, but that crust really is a lot stronger.
To me, it didn't really impact the tenderness or like the interior. They're very similar from that perspective. It is very clearly a better steak. So I think it's safe to say dry ice absolutely works for searing better steaks, though given everything that was required to access and use the dry ice, maybe not worth it for the average weeknight steak. You've seen me cook things using the sun, but this time is gonna be a little different. This is a solar oven, and my goal today is to not only cook a steak, but also sear a steak using the sun alone. A little oil binder, and we'll keep the seasoning simple with some salt and black pepper. We'll get our steak on the pan, into the bag, into the oven, and let's hope today's a sunny day. This should be perfect positioning for the sun. Let's see if this works. And this is what we'll be using to hopefully sear. The idea is I should be able to use the rays of the sun to consolidate all the power and ultimately sear the steak. Let's go see if this works. We've reached temp. Let's take it off. One pale looking steak, but hopefully that'll change. I'm gonna pat this extremely dry. Now let's see if this works. If my neighbors saw me right now, they'd be very confused. Oh my gosh, it's searing. Guys, the steak is searing. I cannot believe this right now. This is the greatest day of my life. Wow. I think we need more of these, Kyle. Nothing to see here, guys. Kyle, dab me. Thank you. I mean, we're talking about extremely slow progress here. However, I've pretty much gotten a full bite's worth of crust. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Let's get inside. Whew, it is hot out there. Let's slice into this thing. For one, the steak feels extremely soft. It might be on the rare side, and for the majority of it, there is absolutely zero color going on, except for that one tiny little square inch of crusty perfection. I have to say, that is the hardest I've ever worked for a crust, and I'm also the most proud of it. I mean, sun or not, based on the interior, that is a perfectly cooked steak. Now for my pride and joy crust piece, we're gonna have to do a little bit of work here, kind of separating the cap. I'll do some slicing to hopefully leave me with a singular bite of perfectly cooked steak with that nice black burnt sun crust on one side. That right there is the perfect piece of steak. You get that nice medium rare internal, a little bit of fat for flavor, of course, that nice sun crust. Now before we give that a taste, I want to remind you guys that if you are interested in supporting the channel, Max Jerky is by far the best way to do it. We have all sorts of incredible flavors like our brand new chimichurri meat sticks, and it's all because of your support that we're able to make videos just like this. So use code STEAK25 to get 25% off your order. Hope you guys love it, and let's get back to it. Doesn't taste very good.
Really mushy.
It actually just tasted burn charred.
Yes. You know those woodworkers that use those little pens and like burn things onto wood?
Yes.
It's what you'd imagine that would taste like.
But there was no crispy part, so I'm confused where the burn is coming from.
The sun. I'm very proud of this steak. It's not good though.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
We gave it our best shot, but sadly, sun-cooked steaks do not work. But there's gotta be potential here, and we will try that again. This is one I've been dying to try for a while now. It's the boiling butter tenderloin. Yes, this is a dish from the infamous Salt Bae's restaurant. It starts with a beautiful center-cut tenderloin. We'll season generously with salt and black pepper. Then onto a ripping hot grill to sear. The goal here is to pick up some char flavor without really cooking the inside at all. Got some nice color, Let's slice her up. Going for some relatively thin slices here. It's raw, you donut. Don't worry, it's all part of the plan. Next, we'll get that butter hot. Also gonna throw in some garlic to infuse for some additional flavor. While that gets hot, let's assemble. Just laying down those essentially raw slices of tenderloin. And now we pour. I really hope this plate doesn't break. Just drowning that steak in the hot butter. To be honest, I think I went a little heavy on the butter, but as my friend Guga would say, more butter, more better. Talk about swimming in butter. I hate how much I like that. Because the thing is, tenderloin is very lean and usually lacking in flavor, but completely submerged in a pool of butter certainly has enough richness, and it actually does take it over the top.
It literally just melts in your mouth, and it's incredible.
It actually makes sense because tenderloin, it doesn't have that much flavor on its own, and it's just drowning in butter and salt. Honestly amazing.
I always thought it'd be way too bland. It only has a sear on that exterior, but paired with the butter, I mean, you guys know butter makes everything better, and that concept certainly applies here. Kind of sad to say it, but I guess Salt Bae knows his stuff. That right there definitely works. Inspired by a traditional French dish, this next steak is being cooked in burning hay. Hay smoked mussels, or éclat de moulet, probably pronounced that wrong, is probably the coolest way to cook mussels, so naturally we have to see what happens when we use the same process on steak. We'll season it up, then get it on the cast iron, starting with a whole bunch of familiar herbs like rosemary, thyme, and garlic to act as a first insulating layer. This feels wrong, but now I'm just completely covering the steak in this dry hay, forming a nice mound here. Let's hit the grill. So it is raining right now, but let's see if this works. Probably don't try this one at home, guys. Will the fire beat the rain? Let's find out. Adding oxygen to our fire to get it all ignited. With it all burned out, let's check on the steak, and we'll let it finish searing right over the fire. At this point, I honestly have no idea what's happening to the steak under there. And just like that, it should be good to go. Well, that was quite the cooking experience. Is it completely burnt to a crisp or absolutely perfect? I have no idea. Despite the crazy dark crust, I have to say it actually looks like it cooked pretty evenly. Nice medium rare internal. Time to see if this thing's still edible. Whoa.
It's so good. It's like charred, but not burned.
It is right on the edge and right below burned. It's the most intense char flavor I've ever experienced, with it still being a positive.
And you get a little bit of like crunchy bits.
It's really good. Zero weird flavor from the hay. I think it enhanced this steak for sure.
I think so too. I'm so happy that worked, because that was probably the most fun I've ever had cooking a steak. And I've cooked a lot of steaks. Next up, we have a pretty crazy one. It's the fat seared filet. And yes, believe it or not, this is another Salt Bae special, but I've always been fascinated by it, so let's see if it works. What we'll also need for this one is a whole bunch of beef fat, which fortunately I have. And we'll get this all into a pan to start rendering. And now we'll prep the tenderloin. What I want here is just that perfect center cut Chateaubriand. So I'm removing the head. I'll slice off the tail, as well as that other end, leaving us with what is widely considered the most premium cut of beef. To season it up, we'll hit it with a bit of oil, and we'll hit it with salt, as well as some black pepper. As you can see, we have a lot of that tallow rendering out. It's starting to develop some color, but clearly we have a long way to go until these are fully rendered and boiling hot. And we'll get that tenderloin on the grill. This is a two-step cooking process, so I'm only gonna let this come up to about 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit internal during this first step. This steak is extremely rare, on the verge of being raw, which should be perfect. And next, of course, we need the gold. In my opinion, throwing a bunch of gold on top of a steak is just an excuse for Salt Bae to charge an absolute fortune, but we gotta keep it authentic. Our fat is definitely hot at this point, which means we should be good to go. We'll slice this right down the middle. On with that insanely hot fat. Oh, I can already hear it sizzling. And let's see if this works. It's literally searing from the inside out as that boiling rendered fat releases, leaving us with honestly what looks like a perfectly cooked tenderloin. And for the cheap price of just probably $5,000, this steak can also be yours at Salt Bae's. It's the one I'm by far most excited to try.
That's good.
That's great.
That works.
The thing is, the tenderloin is so lean, but that perfectly rendered fat in there gives it this like extra richness, this extra crunch. I can't believe it, but it does actually work.
I mean, it almost tastes like bacon in there. So you get that fatty bacon, tender tenderloin. The gold, I don't know if that really adds anything, but the dish itself tastes incredible.
I love that crispy bacon taste on the inside. It helps an otherwise super lean, tender cut. Gives it a little bit more dimension.
It's crazy good, and needless to say, it works. We're gonna attempt to cook this next steak inside of bread. We'll need a steak and some bread. This is a super high quality raw sourdough loaf that I got at my local bakery. I apologize in advance to them for what's about to happen here. Now for the steak, I'm specifically going with the Denver steak. The reason is that because we're cooking it in bread, it's gonna have to get to a very high temperature of like 200 degrees Fahrenheit. This steak is from the shoulder muscle, so it should be able to take that higher temperature, but it is still relatively tender. We'll season, and next I'm gonna give it a quick sear. Since it's being essentially steamed into bread, this is the only chance we'll get to impart a flavorful crust. With some flavor on there, let's move on over to the bread. So apparently this bread is filled with really nice air pockets, so I'm not supposed to re-knead it. Well, first of all, she didn't necessarily approve of this idea at all, but she said my best bet would be to take a slice from the side, kind of make an incision, making sure not to like flatten it out or anything. It's somewhat of a hole. God, it's so goopy in there. We're gonna flip this over. Oh. Okay, completely making it up as I go at this point. As you guys know, I am not a baker. Into a preheated cast Dutch oven and into the oven to bake. Our bread is done and it is looking absolutely beautiful. Weirdly, it kind of feels like there's something in there. I can feel it bouncing around. Not sure if that's a good sign or not. We also have some moisture that's kind of come to the surface here. I imagine that's from the steak sort of resting. But all things considered at this point, I'm pretty happy. Well, let's slice into it. Let's see what we got. Oh boy. What have I done? It's not what I expected. It's like fully hollowed out. I mean, the steak looks atrocious. That thing is gray as gray can be. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway type deal. I mean, the bread itself looks incredible. It's all bubbly and moist. And there's just an overcooked, gray, dry steak right on the inside. Sort of at a loss here. I guess that means we should see how it tastes.
It's like beef stew in a bread bowl, but no beef stew.
The bread itself is fantastic.
What's your secret? This was incredible sourdough.
You show up at the bakery and say, hey, can I have a loaf of raw sourdough?
I do like the combination of the richer meat with the bread. It reminds me of like a hearty, warm meal, but it is a little dry.
I think using Denver steak did help, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a well-done steak inside of a loaf of bread.
It's like a little home for the steak.
It's a little home for a
It's
well-done
like a squirrel home.
If I'm gonna invest that much time into making my own sourdough, I know it's a pain. I don't think I'm gonna put a steak inside.
But I'm glad we tried it. I mean, some things must be done in the name of steak science. This was one of them. Unfortunately though, that right there does not work. This next one's a crazy one. It's called the carpetbagger steak. The carpetbagger steak has a history stretching back over 100 years, gaining popularity as a luxurious dish in upscale restaurants. It brings a whole new meaning to the term surf and turf and starts with a bunch of freshly shucked oysters, throwing in some Worcestershire and some paprika to marinate. Now using a small knife, make a little incision here, essentially just forming a little pocket inside of the steak. And I'd be lying if I said this didn't feel a little bit wrong. It's just, when it's not in the shell, it just looks all goopy and like, either way, we'll get it in the steak. This is not, oh God, okay, get on in. Okay, go into your home. Now we'll seal it up with some bacon, we'll season it up, and get it on the grill. And just like that, our carpetbagger filet mignon is done. I mean, I've never said no to a bacon wrapped steak, but slicing into it, I mean, this just doesn't look right. I'm not sure who decided this should be a thing. Just some medium rare steak surrounding some medium rare oysters. But either way, let's give it a taste.
Oh, dude, what is that thing? Looks like a used tissue inside of a steak. Really slimy.
Something's not right.
It's weird, it's fishy.
What's in there?
Raw oysters.
Oh, That's weird because I love oysters.
Not inside of a steak.
Inside of my steak. Everything will be better separated. The bacon takes away from the crust on the steak. The oysters are better on their own. The tenderloin would also be better on its own with just a nice sear. It's a swing and a miss for me.
I love oysters and I love tenderloin, but together just isn't working.
It's not raw, it's also not cooked. It's somewhere in the middle, inside of a tenderloin.
We need some crust action or something in there.
That right there absolutely does not work. Next up, we're taking salt bake to the next level, and it starts with this giant tomahawk. It's got some really nice marbling on it, probably at least 2, maybe even 3 inches thick, which should be perfect for this. Before we get started on the salt, we'll start with some miso. And we'll throw in a little bit of ginger. This is a flavor combination I've been dreaming about. I hope it's as good as my dreams. What we'll do is we'll start by throwing on 1 nice layer of that miso ginger combo. There's just something about miso with the depth of umami and flavor that it provides. It's just one of the most unique ingredients. There's no way it could be bad with steak. And now we'll assemble the salt. You guys know the drill. We'll start with a whole bunch of kosher. I actually have no idea if this is gonna work, but we'll throw in the miso and give it a mix. My thought is that the miso will kind of act as the liquid component. Typically it's water or egg white. I mean, it seems like it's kind of working. It's definitely starting to thicken up. It's developed this cool tan color, but it's not quite thick enough, so we'll just add a bit of water. This should be perfect. Base layer down, steak on, and we'll finish by completely covering the steak. We want this thing fully encased in that salt so it can trap in all the steam and keep it super juicy and tender. And into the oven to roast. Just like that, it should be done. Let's crack into it. A ton of that salt is stuck on there, so I am just removing some before the sear. The steak is fully cooked at this point, so searing quick over super high heat. Looks like that miso's helping to achieve some great caramelization. That right there is perfection. Juicy medium or medium rare on the inside, and the smell is insane. I hope this thing tastes as good as it looks. I actually really like it. To me, it's a very subtle miso flavor. If you get a side piece, it does have a bit more, and to me, it adds to it.
I like it too, but I do think it's crucial to get like a corner piece. The internal pieces though need a little bit more seasoning.
I'm actually not getting any miso and I really wanted that. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Try a side piece though.
That bite there did have a bit more miso and I loved that, but those other pieces didn't have enough for me to really love it.
I do wish there was more miso flavor, which is surprising though, because we like threw a lot on there. Maybe next time I'll let it marinate overnight or something. But all that said, I still think that works. And this next steak is being cooked with something literally hotter than lava. This is a forge. Normally used to melt metal, I have a feeling this is either gonna create the greatest crust of all time or lead to something completely inedible. We'll get this bad boy up to temp, and today's gonna get a little crazy. We're gonna try several different steaks in here. We'll start with a rock solid frozen steak. Okay, now this took a little bit of trial and error. I initially tried throwing in a completely frozen steak, which got way too crispy before the inside was able to cook at all. Next, I tried a tomahawk, which again got a great crust, but the interior was still completely raw. But finally, I attempted a regular sized steak. There was a ton of rendered fat at this point, leading to a significant amount of flaring up, but all things considered, we did finish with a decent looking steak. Maybe not the best crust in the entire world, but a decent medium rare on the inside. Time to eat. That was a lot more intense than I was expecting, but clearly with a bit of work, that last steak was cooked absolutely perfectly. The only issue here, guys, as you might have noticed, we were essentially cooking it directly on what appeared to be like fiberglass. I am not gonna make you guys eat that today.
Thank you.
Fight!
Well, Kyle, I'm gonna make you eat that actually.
Fiberglass.
Yeah, do you like that? That probably shouldn't. Okay. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are interested in supporting us, Max Jerky is by far the best way to do it. We just launched some exclusive brand new chimichurri meat sticks. They are absolutely incredible. Check them out at maxjerky.com. We appreciate the support and we'll see you next time.